Herc, your interviews continue. Give us stuff to talk about. The latest with Ilkay Gundogan of Manchester City. This from Ahora o Nunca with your co-host Mauricio Pedrosa. You guys were talking about none other than Raul Jimenez. Here's the clip.
You know, for a striker, he's so mobile, but also physically so good and talented, technically on the ball. So I think he has everything that a world-class striker needs. And you know, if I could compare, maybe not on that level yet, but he remembers me sometimes also a little bit of Lewandowski. So
Yeah,
because
wow.
I played with him, and in terms of style, I think there's still a lot of potential.
All right, Herc, those are pretty big words from Gundogan. You're doing this interview. I was watching it, and I saw that eyebrow of yours pop up when he said it. What did you think?
Listen, Lewandowski's probably the best 9 in the world right now. He's a very complete player. So when he said it, I immediately raised an eyebrow like, wow, this is very high praise for a player that 2 years ago was on the outs at Benfica, who didn't make, I think, more than 3 appearances with Atletico Madrid. The turnaround for Raul Jimenez has been spectacular. Now I had his direct, I guess, link as part of player attributes, and I don't know if Craig agrees with me or not, more of a Firmino type of player. The good hold-up play and association play in the final third and his ability to link up and his good movement, but not necessarily that goal scorer. Robert Lewandowski is a different animal, is a different beast. To be even considered at a macro level to him is a huge compliment to Raul Jimenez. And I don't know if City's the correct team for him, but Ilkay seems to think he fit in nicely there. What I do know is Wolverhampton days seem to be over because the praise keeps coming in for Raul Jimenez.
Craig, what do you think? Are Gundogan's comments exaggerated?
No, I don't think so. I tell you what's exaggerated, the amount of interviews that your colleague Herculez Gomez is having to do while you sit in your backside doing not a lot but getting angry with
When are
people
you going to start
and
doing
winding people
interviews?
up.
Apparently everybody does interviews now. Craig, I think you should be up next.
As I always say to people, I don't do interviews because I have a job. I have a job. And I stay in my own lane. I let others do. But I have noticed that Herc's doing all the hard graft here, and you're just trying to piggyback on the back of it.
Thank you.
Yeah? Is that a fair assessment?
Hey, just about. Yeah, you know, we got to spread out the work here a little bit.
What I would say is, yeah, Robert Lewandowski at the moment is the best striker on the planet. If we just take forget Messi and Ronaldo, we talk about a natural number 9 that leads the line. You're looking at Robert Lewandowski, and then you're looking at Harry Kane when fit, probably, Karim Benzema, the list goes on. Do you remember months ago, it was maybe 7 or 8 months ago, we were chatting on this segment, and I said he reminded me of a Luis Suarez. Now, I didn't mean he had the same talent levels as Luis Suarez. He would reach the same levels as Luis Suarez. But he just, when I watched him, sometimes reminded me of his movement and his body language and his physicality. It reminded me a little bit of Luis Suarez. And I went away and I thought, and I don't think too often, but I thought, was that a bit much? Try to, compare him. And actually, now that Gundogan said this, I think, well, yeah, other people are saying it. And I think from City's perspective, he would be a different animal than what they've got. They've got Sergio Aguero, who I think is in his 30s now, so it's not going to continue forever. And they've got Gabriel Jesus, who's been kind of coming off the bench and, he's got the skills and the talent. But Raul Jimenez gives and will give some team, I think, something different. He gives them a little bit of all of those things, plus the physicality. And it does look like, with the murmurings, that he's not going to be at Wolves for too much longer. And he's got to take advantage of this period of his career, which has been excellent. And do I think he could step up to a big club? Absolutely. Absolutely. He could go on to another level, and I think he will.
Herc, that's kind of the discussion here, right? Like, I think at this point, everyone's settling on Jimenez is ready to leave Wolves. It's just where to, right? Is it a jump up or is it a jump to the elite? We had Ale on in this space the other week. We were talking about the link to Madrid, Real Madrid, and he said he wasn't ready for that, like, elite level jump. I think City would be at that elite level. Do you think he's ready for City? Could he overtake an Aguero? Could he beat out Jesus?
Well, when you look at his attributes, I mean, what's the one criticism Aguero's always had back to his Atletico days with Javier Aguirre is his defensive work rate, that tactical discipline to help the team out. Oftentimes when he doesn't have the ball, he doesn't really contribute to his team. So yes, Raul Jimenez is an upgrade in that stance or in that sense. And I agree with what Craig is saying. That tenacity that all of a sudden Luis Suarez shows, that willingness to fight and grind, he has that. He's a different player, Gabriel Jesus. Maybe he's more of a starter than him. Here's the thing. I remember Ilkay even asked us, how old is Raul Jimenez? And we said, I think he's 28 years old. And he just went, nah, 28. Like
too old.
It's already too old. And if you think about it, maybe it is, because how much are they going to be asking these elite teams? I mean, he went for $40+ million to Wolverhampton. You have to assume it's going to be a lot more than that if he goes to an elite team. Would they really want to spend that much on a player who probably has a handful of prime years left? That's what's hindering him, in my opinion, is his age, because I think he has the skill set. But for a team like Real Madrid to pull the trigger, why on somebody who's going to be turning 29 when you can go out in the world's game and maybe bank on somebody who's going to be cheaper and younger?
Craig, I want to focus a little bit on City specifically here. Kun Agüero's about to turn 32. He's in the last year of his contract. If they do move on from him, do you think Jimenez could beat out Gabriel Jesus?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely convinced. I'm not saying Gabriel Jesus hasn't got a great talent. He has. But I haven't been convinced that, say, he could lead the line for Manchester City for a whole season and they could bank on him consistently. Where I think with a Harry Kane, certainly with a Sergio Aguero, with a Luis Suarez and players of that ilk, you're able to do that. Now, maybe it's because he has found game time difficult because of Sergio Aguero. And so maybe I'm doing him a disservice. I just personally, I'm not convinced that he doesn't need backup or he doesn't need to be still coming off the bench. And, you know, it depends where City are in their juncture. I think the only thing is City have got other issues that they need to address, particularly at the back. Now, it's going to come down to finances. Clearly, they have an issue in the centre-half position. Potentially, they have an issue in the full-back position at left-back. So their needs are kind of defensive. You know, they brought Rodri in as the successor to Fernandinho. David Silva's going to be leaving. So is it enough for young Phil Foden to step up? So unless there's any clear sign that Aguero and Jesus are not going to be there, at least for the next 12 to 18 months, I think City will go fishing in a pond for other positions, to be honest.
And Sebi, if I may really quickly, what might help his chances of actually going to City is this UEFA Champions League ban. I mean, if players know they can't play Champions League, does Raul want to take the chance of playing with Pep and playing at City? Will he want to go to a team that's not Champions League bound itself? I think that may have a lot of implications as well.
Can I buy shares in Raul Jimenez? I think you two have got shares in Raul Jimenez. There's something going on here.
It's in the water.
Hey, wouldn't be a bad time to buy, that's for sure, as the big clubs line up for the Mexican superstar.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week, subscribe to ESPN+.